Welcome to another episode of Strictly Business Unscripted. I'm your host, Keandra Jones. This podcast educates, ignites inspiration, fosters encouragement, and paves the way for growth among small businesses and the overall Oak Cliff community. But first, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Dallas Zoo, Home Care Network, Breakfast Brothers, and Serve Pro. Thank you for your support. Now, let's get into it. Today on Strictly Business Unscripted, we are joined by Xavier McGilberry, who is the Executive Vice President of Home Care Network and is the 2026 Board Chair of the Oak Cliff Chamber of Commerce. He comes with over 15 years of experience in sales, marketing, and business development. Xavier is known for driving growth, building strategic partnerships, and leading impactful initiatives in healthcare. At Home Care Network, he works closely with his leadership team and strengthens operations and expands patient-centered services. In addition to his healthcare leadership, Xavier plays an active role in the Dallas business community, supporting local businesses as well as economic development through his work with the Oak Cliff Chamber of Commerce. Xavier, welcome to today's show.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good.
So I believe most people know that we're friends.
Do they?
They should. And so we are just going to have a conversation. I have a few questions for you that have been pre-prepared, but I'm going to throw that away. So we're just going to talk. Like we normally talk.
Let's talk.
Is that all right?
That's all right.
Okay. So we're just going to get all relaxed and we just going to talk like we are at Glorious. I'm going to pull out my blanket and we just going to have a conversation. Is that all right?
Oh.
Okay.
Okay with me?
Okay. So you got your tea.
Got my tea.
We ready. We're going to do all the things and we're going to talk. Okay. So what kind of tea you drinking?
Mint citrus tea.
Mint citrus tea. Why? What's wrong?
Just help me.
It helps
Help
you.
me get through, power me through my day.
Okay. So one of the things I know that because you're our chair, you probably watch the show, and the first question that I normally ask everybody is the same. Who are you outside of all of your accomplishments? We know you're accomplished, you're educated, you've got all the things, you check all those boxes, but who is Xavier McGilberry outside of your accomplishments?
That's a great question because sometimes, I think that's a good question to ask because I think sometimes executive C-suites and above, we become what we do. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a great question. I think what I strive to be is a great father, a great friend, a great family man. First and foremost, a person of God. I believe in God, so I should have started with that. But a great friend, a great family man, a great father, just a person who wants to make the world a better place.
Okay, you mentioned that you are, and I know this about you, you are a great father. We're going to start there. You've got two, well, I was about to say little ones. You don't have any little ones, not kids. No. But how old are your kids?
Oh, don't do that to me.
Don't do that to you? How old are your kids?
They're adults.
You have adult children? As do I. And so I get to lean on Xavier, even though he's a little bit younger than I am. I get to lean on him for his wisdom and guidance as it relates to these little ones.
Yeah.
So where did you get all this wisdom?
I always enjoyed hanging around the older generation. I love to sit and hear the stories. I love to hear the journeys. I love to soak up the knowledge. So really just, I always hung with older people, always. So
You can tell.
It gave me a little edge.
Well, you can tell. So we know that the community, especially Oak Cliff, DeSoto, they mostly know who you are. But if you don't, you feel mature and settled, like your energy feels mature and settled. Like I said, he's younger than I am, but you feel older just because of your level of wisdom. Do you find that your friends normally lean on you for that wisdom?
I think sometimes, but I'm glad you asked that question. You asked some great questions.
Thank
I know
you.
I keep repeating that. I actually have a group of friends that, I've heard people typically say, friends come and go. I got a circle that we actually been friends for 40 plus years, and we still talk every day. So we hold each other accountable. So I wouldn't say me. I think where one is strong, the other's weak. We help one another. And what I love about my circle of friends is we it's accountability. Like they don't let me off the hook. I don't let them off the hook. So I wouldn't say that. I say we lean on each other for our strengths.
Okay.
I mean, for our weaknesses, we lean on the other, and they lean on us for our strengths and weaknesses. What I'm trying to say, we use each other for strengths and weaknesses.
I think that is key in growth is having accountability partners.
Absolutely,
People that'll tell you the doggone truth.
the truth.
The truth. And all too often, I think that we miss the mark in so many areas because we just don't have people in our circle that'll tell us the truth.
Very true.
Do you find that that's common with executives that because they've reached, so much success in life that they don't have people that will just tell them the truth?
Yeah, it's that, and then you have to also think too. I don't know what they call it nowadays. When we came up, it's called constructive criticism.
Yes.
Those conversations are very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, I think when you become an executive, you start believing the hype yourself of who you are, and so you don't want to receive constructive criticism anymore.
Yeah.
So I think, as they start saying, we start drinking our own Kool-Aid. So it plays against us because what happens is the world's forever evolving and it's growing, and you'll get left behind. So.
Yeah. So I've noticed that is a trend, though, and the term constructive criticism, I'd rather use something like feedback.
Great
feedback.
Right, coaching.
Yes. Sometimes when we don't have those people in our circles that will give us feedback, honest feedback at that, honest feedback, then we become stagnant.
True.
And so I agree with the fact that we'll get caught up in all the other stuff because there's so many people around there ready to tell you how great you are.
Absolutely.
You're so wonderful. You're so great. And you start thinking you as great as they say you are.
You start to believe. You'll drink the Kool-Aid.
You'll drink the Kool-Aid and then get stagnant and not realize you've got some growing to do. We've all got some growing to do.
I think what helps with that, though, is as the old saying go, if you're the biggest fish in the pond, you need a new pond. So I think for me, it's like I get into some rooms, and you've introduced me to some rooms, and the position chair introduced me to some rooms. HCN introduced me to some rooms to where you're in rooms where you are the smallest fish in the pond, and so I've embraced that of being uncomfortable in there because if you don't know things, what you do, you sit and you learn.
Yeah, that's
right. And so I've learned to embrace. I actually starting to love that uncomfortable feeling because it stops you from becoming stagnant.
Oh,
so
I
when
love
you
that.
get it, so when you get in these rooms and you like, and it gives you motivation. You like, oh, I got more to go. I got more to do, and I need to learn more. Like I done been in rooms that you have these executives in here because, as you say, you might start to drink the Kool-Aid a little bit because your staff may tell you, you win an award here and there. And I got in these rooms and I read I hear the accomplishment of some people in these rooms and what they're doing, and it makes me, sink down in my chair. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm not envious. It's like, okay, I got some more work to do. I got some more books to read. I got some more, classes to take. I need to get on this, and I love being around that because it's growth. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Okay, so there were so many things that you said, and there's so many things that you said that I have questions for. So this is going to seem like it's a bit chaotic in terms of our conversation,
Okay.
but you used
Let's
to
go.
how I think.
Let's go.
This is that ADHD at play right now.
Excuse me, I still have my coffee.
Yeah.
Tea, I'm sorry.
So I'm going to give you a scenario,
Okay.
and I'd like for you to respond to that scenario.
I'm scared, but okay.
Are you scared? Okay. So let's say that you go into one of these rooms,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's a room you're unfamiliar with. Let's say it's a round table discussion. You don't know anyone else in the room. The subject matter you're maybe just a little bit knowledgeable about. But when they go through and they say, at the start of these meetings, they say, I want everybody to give an introduction. Who are you and what do you do?
Right.
That's pretty common in these spaces,
Right.
right? For a new meeting. And everybody, let's say you're the last person, everybody in front of you stands up. And when they pop up and they square their shoulders and they do all the things that they do, they posture and they give this long resume about who they are and what do they do. And finally they get to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's taken an hour to get to you.
Okay.
How are you feeling by the time it's your turn to talk?
It's according on the room. But as I said, I think sometimes I probably go on an emotional roller coaster because as I stated before, you hear all these resumes and you hear all of these things. I think I'm the kind of person where I would keep it basic, what I do, who I am, and allow my actions to speak louder than my words. As my grandmother used to say, a pair of lips will say anything.
Man, look. Look at here. And let me tell you how I feel in those rooms. And I'm going somewhere with this. Sometimes with big and powerful people, I realize in those rooms that they're really very insecure.
Oh, absolutely.
Extremely
Absolutely.
insecure. So for those executives or whoever that is watching this, when someone asks you to give your name and what you do, please do not talk for 10 minutes about your resume.
If y'all didn't know, Keandra is very time oriented.
I am.
We get out of meetings on time.
Absolutely.
Every
I do
time.
not like that. I want to be respectful of your time and I want you to respect mine. I am not interested in a person's full resume at the point of introduction. Like, I'm not interested. And I think that sometimes with those big and powerful people, they do that because they want you to feel inferior to them.
I
What are
think
your
differently.
thoughts?
I
Okay,
think
talk
differently.
to me.
The reason I say that is, if I say the name Warren Buffett, I don't have to say a lot after
You
that.
don't?
Let's go athletic. If I say the name Michael Jordan, I don't have to say a lot after it.
Yeah.
So what I think happens is, I think it's not them shining on you. I think it's some insecurities, because for me, if I have to say a lot, that means I haven't done a lot.
Amen. I agree with that.
Because if I've done, when you hear my name, you should know what I am. I think it was Eric Thomas that said, when they hear your name, they should know everything that you've done and what you do. So if they think of healthcare, I hope they say Xavier McGilberry.
I love that. I love that. And, and it's not for me that I even have to know everything that you've done at the point of introduction. But I think at those points, less is more. If you say, I am Xavier McGilberry and I am the Executive VP of HCN or Home Care Network, I know from your title you somebody. You ain't got to tell me, guess what, in 1925,
Yeah. But I think it's always better if somebody else spills your resume. rather than you.
Absolutely. Even the Word of God said it's better for someone else to speak well of you than you yourself.
Speak well of yourself.
Allow someone
Amen,
else
sister.
to speak well of
Amen,
you
sister.
versus you doing. So I don't know. I'm a little sensitive to some of that because I've had a past relationship with a narcissist. But anyway.
That explains it.
Okay, so moving on, I would love to walk through your professional career. So tell me at the point, well, let's start at college because that's where you created most of your relationships in college.
Yeah.
So let's start from college and then let's walk our way through your professional career.
I think my career is very unorthodox. It's I was trying to figure it out. I remember going to college. God has a unique sense of humor. So I'll rewind a little bit further. I'll make this short. Try to make it
You
short.
don't have to.
So I remember growing up young, like my handwriting was horrible, but I was pretty smart. So my aunt used to always say, "You're gonna be a doctor. You smart, but you can't write."
That's funny.
So that was stuck in my head. I'm gonna be a doctor. I'm gonna be a doctor, right? So fast forward, I'm going to school. I'm thinking medical, MD. Don't work. I was into sports, so I was like, I'm gonna be physical therapy.
Okay.
So I initially go to school. I'm doing that. Didn't want to do that. Got out of that. Went into business. Just was all over the place, like most kids are. So it's okay to try to figure it out.
Yep.
You don't have to have all the answers.
That's right.
So with doing that, I went into business. When I came out, I was working for a particular cellular company. Went through the rankings of that. And how I came over to healthcare was I started to do some, in a sense, some contract work with business development and different things like that to understand healthcare.
Okay.
Then I had a couple of friends that were in. Well, I had a friend and a cousin that was in healthcare, and this is why your circle is important. They pulled me in. They weren't envious. They taught me the business. They taught me how it works, how it goes. My cousin Doug was already in the industry. Douglas Connor, who was always encouraging, like, cuz you can do this. This is what you do. Anytime I called, I had a question. He was he was open, like, this is how you do this. You can do this. And so you fast forward, I got into it, and from there I just thrived. I tried to learn everything I could, understand what it was. So I also took the next step, and I went back and got my master's in healthcare leadership, which I wanted to hone down on the craft, understand the verbiage, know the language, kind of cut the learning curve of understanding what I was into, how to lead, how to bring it all together. And from there, why I said God has a unique sense of humor was I went from business to healthcare, and getting into healthcare, I went into the administrative executive side. And when I came to that, I was really blessed to be working for Belinda May, who is a powerhouse in healthcare, and she took me under the wing and taught me so much. Never got impatient with me and just taught me the business. And God's funny sense of humor is I did a full circle and I end back up in the medical field, not a doctor, but a decision maker to help those who need medical assistance get what they need. So instead of a physician waiting on a couple, we work with hundreds of patients that need our services. And God put me back in the healthcare space that my aunt talked about when I was a little boy.
That's very interesting. One of the things that we have in common is our belief in God and having a Christian belief system. We believe that words have power.
Absolutely.
And so could it be that she spoke that into your life?
I believe it.
Very.
And she's a God-fearing woman, so I absolutely believe that.
Okay.
All the crazy stuff, I've done, as the saying go, I had a praying family, because I've done some woo.
Thank God for that. Thank God for praying families. And that's some of my concern moving forward. Because we don't have grandmas like we used to that would anoint your head with oil in the middle of the night and you be all slick and looking crazy in the morning and praying over you while you slept. It doesn't seem like our community has that anymore. But anyway, as far as your career is concerned, Home Care Network, okay, how long have you been with the organization?
9 years.
9 years, okay. Tell me more about Home Care Network. Like, what is the mission? What's the goal? What areas does it serve?
So our mission is to help patients who have had major surgeries, have medical needs, and they can't get out the home. So we do pretty much almost everything you can do in the hospital, I said almost, we can do it in the home. Anything from wound care to physical therapy, occupational therapy, any skilled nursing services we can do in the home. So our mission is, you have a lot of areas. You have these people who are limited mobility, who can't get around. It's tasking efforts to get to a physician, or are they in areas? A lot of our infrastructure is set up in limited resource areas to where they don't have a lot of hospitals in the area. So what we do is, once those patients are discharged from the hospital, we work hand in hand with physicians, surgeons, doctors, rehabs, and when these patients discharge to come home, we pick up those clinical services. I think it's very, very important that you guys understand that you have these resources. So one of the things about, and I'm telling you from experience, my mom had a massive stroke. So I think one of the things in the Black community is, our culture unknowingly is, if someone goes down, whoever's up, take care of them. And what I always tell people is, you're not qualified to do that work.
Let's unpack that. Can we pause there and just kind of unpack that a little
Sure.
bit? Because that impacts so many of us. We assume that it's our responsibility to take care of my mom, who is overweight, who is all the things. And because she goes down, I'm supposed to take care of her. Explain that. Let's first of all, why do we feel that way? Culturally, what's happened to us to make us feel like we're supposed to do that?
I mean, I can't speak on all cultures, but I can kind of speak on being an African American, since I am one.
Yeah.
We just have always been taught, you take care of your own, so we try to take care of our own. And I personally, I think that it's a little history in that, to where we felt like we had nobody to lean on, and we didn't have the resources.
Very interesting.
So I think that mindset has been passed on.
Yeah.
And then so what happens is, we think it's our responsibility, but what I always tell people is, like, listen, what if you can get all the services that your loved one need, and the only thing we need you to do is love on them. So, because what happens is, you go in there and you're trying to do something that you're not qualified for, you can do more damage than good.
That's exactly right.
And you can end up hurting yourself in the process.
So I agree with all of that. One of the things that I think impact that decision too is our fear of the facility.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me about that, and how HCN, how you guys respond to that?
Well, what we try to do is that, with the fear of the facility, if you need a facility, you need to be in a facility. But sometimes you don't need the facility. You just need people like us in place to take care of you, because it's proven that patients do better in the environment they're comfortable with at home. So that's why we try to keep you home and get you the services that you do need. And so I would what you have to do is just like you do anything else. I'll give you an example. Right now, you have access to everything on the internet.
Yeah.
Do your homework. So when you talk about these facilities, if you is qualified that your loved one need a facility, do your due diligence. Look up the facility. Look at the reviews. Visit the facilities. It's also up to us to have some accountability there as well. Yeah. Which means, like, are you checking on your loved one there? Are you doing just pop-ups at the facility to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do? Make sure they're taking care of your loved one. Hold them accountable. You have to inspect what you expect.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's part of it. So don't put it all on just the facility. It's your loved one, so take care of them. But they do have the people in place. As far as us, a lot of times we step that void to where they really don't have to be in the facility. They just need the services.
Yeah.
That's where we come in, those clinical services that we can provide. You can get it in the home.
Yeah.
You can look at the trajectory of healthcare, and COVID kind of pushed that. If I had to guess, in a little while, healthcare is going to be in the home.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting. I'm gonna step back just a little bit, but I do want to explore that. Personally, my grandmother had a stroke, and my mother took that on to care for her at home. She needed physical therapy. She needed some things, and the mindset of my family was, or my mom specifically was, I love my mom, so I can do a better job of caring for her. But what it did is there was impact to my mother's health.
Sure.
Trying to care for
absolutely
an aging woman who was literally paralyzed on her right side. So there's at times dead weight there.
Yeah.
My mom with pre-existing back problems is trying to lift incorrectly this woman on a daily basis, multiple times a day. Is that something that you talk about our community? Do you guys see those kinds of scenarios
all
often?
the time?
Really?
All the time, yeah. And they be stubborn to where we get a lot of pushback. I think that I think it's important to diversify your staff too, because I think you have to understand the demographic to be able to relay a message and have them comfortable with the services and the things that you're providing, right? So you have to be relatable to understand that demographic. And then I think you can deliver the message. I think my story always helped because I always tell them I can relate. I got a mother that's like that, you know. So I think that it's an education component. I give you an example, like my aunt, when my mom went down, my aunt gonna be mad at me for telling this story. So my mom went down, you know, we call them the sisters. Those sisters are real close knit. Like my aunt Deborah from Atlanta came, like dropped everything, came, took care of my mom. My aunt that was there, Aunt Diane, she was there. My uncle Ronnie, all of them just came like together to take care of it. But at the same time, when my mom started to decline, they wasn't qualified, and she started to have some falls and stuff, and different things were going on because they wasn't qualified. You know, it was a hard decision for us to try to transition my mom into a facility, a nursing home. But what I did do, I did my research. Like, I didn't let, you know, the hospital, nobody dictate where I sent my mom. I did my research myself. No, you give me some facilities, let me look at it, let me visit it. She got one that's a great community that she lives in, got friends there, you know, they take, you know, it's not what you think. Like, you hear the horror stories of, like, you have to visit. Are there some good and bad? Yeah, it's some good and bad. You can't, what you have to do, you have to go there and do your research, and then you have to hold them accountable. Like my mom, you know, I think people in our community, they don't understand how much it takes for total care. Prime example, what you just said about your mom working with her mom is like, when that side down, you don't understand the simple things of how hard it is to dress somebody that's like dead weight.
Right.
Something as simple as your loved one going from the bed to a recliner.
Right. That's right.
Is a tasking.
Right.
If they say, hey, I got to go to the restroom. So all these little things that you take for granted, that's what you have to do for another person. So, and then you put them at risk because all these little steps, you have the fear of falls or other things that's why I say can do more harm than good.
Right.
So you have to be real careful with that. Instead of you getting your loved one in a facility, or you got skilled people that's coming into the home who can do what is needed to keep them home in a safe way, making sure they stay healthy as possible and safe as possible.
I do think, Xavier, there needs to be more conversation in and around this topic because it's a multi-generational problem. I do believe that my mom now has prematurely aged because she was taking care of her mom, and now that's become something that my sister and I are having, I believe, premature conversations about. But my mother has declined. She's got back issues.
Sure.
She's got mobility issues now. But for 10 years, was she improperly taking care of my grandmother? So it's a multi-generational problem.
Wear and tear.
It is wear and tear. And so now we're at the age, me and my sister, we're like, so what do we do? And I don't know if you and well, you're an only child. I was about to say, I don't know if you and your siblings do this, but me and my sister are like, I don't know what you're going to do about your mama. But she's like, I don't know what you're going to do about your mama. You going to let your mama live with you? No, you going to let your mama. So it's a multi-generational problem that I do believe, especially in our communities, and I'm not sure culturally how it works with others, but we need to talk about this.
Absolutely.
So what are some ways that we can help get the word out that folks need y'all? Come into the house and help me with this.
I think it's more of something else we do. Don't be afraid to challenge your physicians, to ask questions. If your loved one in the hospital, that social worker is a licensed social worker because they have the resources and the knowledge to get you the services you need. Sometimes they don't all the time volunteer, but you can volunteer the information. You can ask a simple question. What all services is available for my loved one? Let's start there.
Great question.
Then they'll give you, okay, this.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask questions. And then sometimes too, I've seen, especially with the minority, the black and brown, I've seen that they don't ask questions. They just take. And it's important. I go back to the demographic point. You have to understand who you're dealing with. And the reason you need to do that is, how many of us that went to the doctor, taking like our grandmother or our mothers to the doctor, and they in the room, and this doctor not understanding because he doesn't understand the demographic. He's talking, and they're nodding their head, and they have no idea what he's talking about.
Absolutely.
Because he don't realize that my grandmother only has a 7th grade education.
Yeah, that part.
So you're speaking to her in a manner of high level.
Yeah.
And she's, due to some, I guess, embarrassment, is nodding that
that's
yes.
right.
So how do you think that plan of care is going to work? Those outcomes going to be good. They don't even know. So when you're saying do this, they don't understand it. So they're going to go back home and do. So guess what's going to happen? They're back in the hospital. So I think understanding the demographic is important. And I'll give you an example of a meeting I was in. We was talking about demographics. And for instance, in our community, we kind of understand like the setup of the home. So it was a patient we was discussing, and this patient was set up for a knee surgery. Patient didn't did the pre-ops and all that, didn't make the surgery date. So we was talking, going through, and I was like, there was some leaders in the health system, and I'm like, so what happened with the patient? And we discussed, and I was like, so how can we prevent this, or what went on? And they pretty much were saying, like, we can't force them to want to take care of themselves. And I say, nah, from my perspective, let's just say this particular patient was an African American senior. And from my perspective, I said, no, let me give you a little insight from this demographic, from growing up in it. I'm not.
Sure.
This is my personal experience. This is not something I'm just pulling out the air. What happened was, let's just say Miss Johnson. What happened, Miss Johnson? Did anybody call to check on Miss Johnson? Because the first thing that came to my mind was something happened to her.
Yeah.
Secondly, knowing the demographic where she's from, Miss Johnson probably was waiting on how we talking about accountability. Somebody, she's probably waiting on a granddaughter who got 2 kids who work, who supposed to have been bringing her to this surgery, who couldn't get off somehow with the kids or whatever, so that she didn't get there. That would have been my thought from that, the follow-up.
Right.
But from somebody who don't understand the setup of the home.
Right, of the black home.
Yeah.
Let's be specific.
Thank you. Of the black home, this wouldn't even, and it's not nothing against you. You just don't understand
Absolutely.
it. So that's why it's important to diversify your staff.
Xavier, that can be applicable in so many different industries. And it's so great that you're in an industry and understand that. As you're saying those kinds of things, I'm thinking about all the times, even my mother, my grandmother to a lesser degree, but even when my mother goes to the hospital, she had an appointment last week, and I talked to her yesterday. I said, Mama, what did they say? She said, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
She said, I don't know. I
Yeah.
said, well, Mama, why did you go? What'd you go for?
For real.
And I got, and it's getting to the point where I'm like, I'm going to have to start going to the doctor. And my mom's in Arkansas just to translate because she walked away from her appointment with zero
Nothing.
understanding of what was even said. And I don't have an old mother. I don't have an old mother. And so that is so important in healthcare that you realize that staff diversity is so important when
Absolutely.
treating patients, especially in the home.
Absolutely.
You have to understand the home dynamics. That's something I'd never really given thought to.
It's important, but you know, a lot of races get away with it with by language. For instance, Hispanic, they'll say, "Can I have a Spanish speaking?"
Okay.
So they get somebody that can,
That relates based
Yeah,
on. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
They use it
okay.
like it's the language barrier, but it's really relatable. You know what I mean?
You
So-
know, Xavier, and I would almost agree from the outside looking in, but we had a very interesting conversation, even generationally, that's been impacted. In fact, at Leadership Oak Cliff the other day, they said from a generational standpoint, fewer and fewer Hispanics are speaking Spanish.
Yeah.
And so, whereas a few generations ago that could have helped,
Yeah.
I think in that culture, I think their grandmother may have spoke Spanish, but I think sometimes the offspring are not Spanish speaking anymore.
Yeah. That's
And so,
happening.
but I don't know that we're qualified to speak to that completely. But that's a thing in their culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, fewer and fewer are speaking Spanish. Anyway, so but that's very interesting.
Yeah.
This whole conversation, I think, can go in 100 different directions.
Yeah, I don't want to bother y'all. I'm passionate about healthcare, so
No.
I won't.
No, I think everyone. I mean, we've all got aging parents.
Yeah.
We've all got aging grandparents, maybe.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's meaningful conversation, and I think we need to continue to have these conversations because it impacts us all.
This could be the difference between an extra, quote unquote, 5 to 10 years of life.
You know, we say that all the time because not only do I feel like my mother unknowingly,
Sure.
ignorantly, probably shaved off a few years of my
Oh.
grandmother's life, but then she's doing it to herself because she cared for someone who has impacted her own health.
But if it's all you know,
Right.
it's it's what you do. But it's a lot of resources out there, and it's a lot of things that's out there that need to be diversified. In my industry, and I speak of my industry, a lot of the healthcare organizations that you involved in for leadership, if you look at a lot of them, like usually when I come in as a member, I'm a lot of times the only home health, and typically because they have this standard of usually they have a bunch of hospital executives who do the same thing. So how is that really diversifying healthcare? You have a lot of people who's from the big hospitals, and that doesn't really y'all do a lot of the same thing. That doesn't diversify healthcare because you still got physical therapy, you got skilled nursing facilities, you got all of these things that can expand healthcare and make better outcomes, and yet a lot of organizations are really like hospitals who are the muscle in the healthcare who are talking about the same thing. So there's no diversification in there, because even I can talk to some physicians and they don't even understand healthcare. I can't tell you how many times I've sat down with some physicians and said, we do. They be like, you do that? And then they quick to send patients because they don't want their patient. Imagine if you get a full knee replacement. Where we come in, a lot of people say, oh, you go to outpatient. But think about the logic of this, right? Your mom had a full knee replacement, had shower stroke, so it's that. So imagine they do a full knee replacement on your mother, and then they say, we want you to go to outpatient for physical therapy. Every time for one, it's an inconvenience to you because somebody got to take her. right? So you got to get off and work all these visits and try to take your mom to outpatient physical therapy. Secondly, you have to look at that you're going to not only do that, you stand the risk of every time you take her falling, getting up, getting in the car, getting down those stairs. Compared to where a physician can say, hey, Xavier Home Care Network, we sent your information over. They're going to come out to see you. Physical therapy come to you.
Wow.
When a physical therapist come to you, it's two beautiful things about that. Not only they're going to string you and get you up to par where later on you can go to outpatient safely, but also guess what it gives them?
What?
That physical therapy can come in at home, look in that house, get rid of all the fall risk things from floor mats to this. Also, they see what are your everyday activity. Okay, when you walk in the house, you got 3 steps you got to come up. You got, okay, your kitchen's here, your tub's this high, you got to step over there.
Right.
So now I can customize this Trenton, this PT plan of care for you.
You know, Xavier, that sounds super phenomenal, but for the person that's watching this, it also sounds super expensive. What would you say to that?
It absolutely not. Your insurance cover it all. It's a part of your insurance.
That's what I needed to know.
$0.
That's what I needed to know.
And we're going to do all that up front. When they send information, we're going to get the authorization and all that. Your insurance covers this. That's what I mean by knowing, like, it's services out there. It doesn't cost you. It's no different than when you went to the hospital. Your insurance covers these things. Because guess what? The insurance company don't. They don't want you back in that hospital.
Yeah, that's right.
To pay for it twice is not that nice.
To pay for it twice is not that nice. Ooh.
Not that nice.
So, Xavier, if someone were needing your services, how do they get in touch with HCN? Not you. Everybody don't be blowing him up now because he's a busy man. But how do folks get in touch with HCN?
It's simple. Just go online, put in Home Care Network East. We there.
Okay. Home Care Network East. And tell me what your reach is. What areas do you serve?
Texas. We cover Dallas, DFW Metro, and we cover East Texas all the way down to Tyler, Texas.
Perfect.
But we're just, not even for, as I said, I'm passionate about healthcare. I would love to service you, but there are other companies out there. So even if we're out of your coverage area, we do an amazing job of having fellow partners that we can get your loved one to. We can help you with getting the services that you need. We love it so much too. We'll educate you if you call us. Look up our information on online, homecarenetwork.com, and check us out. And if we can help in any way, it's other service no matter where you at, what community you in. Ask your service provider, your insurance. Your physicians, your PCP, primary care physicians about these services. They're there. I promise you, they're there.
Okay, I love all of that. Now, that's what you do full time.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about what you do outside of that, as it relates to this organization. We don't want to go too deep in your other stuff, but tell me, how did you get involved with? So you do a lot, and as far as your professional life is concerned with HCN. How did you get involved with the Oak Cliff Chamber of Commerce?
Whoa. That's a great question. Actually, I think I came to one of your events, and you, Keandra. I think I met you through my cousin, and then you talked about the chamber. I wanted to get involved with the community involvement. I came to an event, and I actually heard some testimonies from some members, and I was like, yeah, I want to be a part of that. And it started from there, and then just I think it's all about connecting with the direction and the passion that our organization has. And one thing about Oak Cliff Chamber of Commerce, you can feel the love. You feel the love. You feel you understand they're passionate about it. They really want to grow business. They really want to develop the community, and that's important. You have to love what you do.
Well, we do.
Yeah.
But we might have a love-hate relationship some days.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So let's talk about what are some of the key relationships that you've been able to make by being, because you started out as a member, then became a board member, now you're the chair. What have been some of the key relationships that you've been able to make?
Oh, man, it's been a wide range from everything from health care or big health systems that I probably wouldn't be able to get in touch with by walking through the door from relationships at Dallas Methodist to UT Southwestern, these big systems that were members of the chamber that I met, and from there, you grow. They refer you to people, even to understanding how to better your community from the councilmen that are a bit part of the chamber. So you have a bunch of councilmen here, so it goes in that realm of that, and then you just meet entrepreneurs who have grown their business, and you see them sprouting, they make you smile, and they give you these business nuggets. So I think the misperception that people have about the chamber and that they don't understand is, we're here to develop the community for sure, but it also, if you're looking for a benefit for you and your organization, it's well rounded. It's everything from contacts to personal development to business development. We have education presidents on the board, so it's nothing the chamber don't have that you can benefit from. Well rounded, career wise, personal wise, professional wise, all above.
I want to go on record as saying this. I'm going to say it to your face.
Uh-oh.
Xavier, as being my friends, you have never spoken so highly to me of the. Xavier gives me a really, really, really hard time, and I know that you just want to see the best in me and all the things, but I appreciate those kind words because
she's making me look bad. But I will say this about Kendra. I think sometimes, like, I've been there before. I think sometimes, like, it's a couple things. The reason I give you such a hard time. I think sometimes when you've in a small organization, when you've had to do so much with so little yourself, sometimes it closes you off to receiving some things because you have to do it so long yourself. So I think that's a little bit of pushback because you've had to do it yourself, and I just I want to challenge you, of course, but still I want you to know you have help. And then I think secondly, like we have to get you being uncomfortable.
being comfortable, being uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's like this. In case y'all didn't know, this is the oldest chamber in the DFW
That's
Metroplex.
right.
So it's
Absolutely.
been here, and so with that being said, we have to make sure if we want it to be here another 100+ years, we have to evolve with the times.
Sure.
And even in my company, some people are like, well, we always did it like that. It's new times, and if you don't evolve, as Snoop said, you're gonna drown in the business.
Well, I most certainly didn't want to give the impression that your feedback is not welcome. It is welcome, but there is a challenge, and it is uncomfortable.
Yeah,
it is uncomfortable, and I'm just grateful that your experience has been with this organization has been as positive as it has been, because sometimes you give me a lot of feedback.
I gotta learn to scale it back a little bit.
Sometimes I get a lot of feedback, but it's much appreciated because I know that it's coming from a good place. As far as some of the programs that you've been able to participate in while being a part of the organization, what has been the most meaningful program that you've been a part of?
It's so many programs. Oh man, of course I'm gonna go healthcare. A Leadership Oak Cliff was probably one of the most impactful programs that I've been in a very long time that I can remember, like for real. And I think sometimes to get around other leaders and to have to humble yourself and bond with a group of leaders is really good. But not just that. I think wherever you are, you need to get involved in their leadership program, like the Leadership Oak Cliff program, because I think you need to. It gives you a better understanding of where you live, where you at, the history of it, and you have a different passion for it. Then on top of that, you're meeting other leaders and building your network, because your net worth is your network.
Yeah.
So it's important that you get in these circles and create these circles. And Leadership Oak Cliff does all that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, how, as we say, you drink your own Kool-Aid, how much you think you don't need it until you get in it. We've had some course, my class was the first class. We had some power hitters in there, and still to this day, we have a group chat. We still talk all the time. Like, we know what each other doing. We congratulate each other on awards. This going on. We stay and we use each other for a lot of things. Like, one of my classmates is over ER at the hospital. Had someone to go and gave her a call. It was one of our classmates gave her a call. Like, hey, this going on with my dad. He just went to the hospital. Smoothed it out. Gave him the red carpet treatment. Made sure he was taken care of. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Things like that. So it's just important. I think, of course, we are taking applications for Leadership Oak Cliff.
Thank you.
Just in case.
Thank you for saying that.
So,
yes.
just get involved. It'll help you grow. You need to grow. Like, don't get stagnant. Grow. That was probably the most impactful program that I've been, Leadership Oak Cliff.
No, I appreciate that. You've been a part of, you have been one of the more active board members, and we, as a leader of a nonprofit, we always appreciate active board members, right? Board members that are willing to get in the trenches with us and make the organization thrive. And you've done that, been that. We love that you're continuing to do that. But Oak Cliff Works, I almost thought you would say that.
Yeah.
I almost thought that you would say that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I might want to take that back. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to take it back. Oak Cliff Works. Oak Cliff Works.
But, I mean, if it's
no,
not
no,
your
no, no.
if
That
it's
was
not,
definitely, I forgot about it. See, it'd be so much. But, yeah. So, Oak Cliff Works. Yeah, I'm hands down. I thank you for that. Yeah. Let me just run you real quick on Oak Cliff Works. So, Oak Cliff Works was a program to where they were certifying chosen students with limited resources to get certifications to help them get better jobs and, which would be better for their family, more income coming in home. So this certification program was amazing because these students you knew, like I could relate. It almost like bring me to tears. Not like I can relate because that's the environment that I come from, and it was like limited resources, not as much, single parents' homes. Some of them had kids, just all different, struggles. And Oak Cliff Works provide these students with a way out. Like, hey, we're going to get your certification. You're going to get a job making good money in the medical field. They had to put skin in the game. They had to go to class. They had to take tests. They had to do all the above. But to see the impact of this program and to see these kids get pinned and they get jobs, and some of them were so influenced that they took further step and went further with their education, becoming nurses and physical therapists and things like that. But the initial impact of you getting certified and you can provide more for your family. So you go from no car to a car, staying with your mom to an apartment, you got food. You can't. What else can you ask for when you're talking about community impact from a chamber? I'm going to say it again. Oak Cliff Chamber. Leadership Oak Cliff still available.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Leadership Oak Cliff. And, Xavier, as I'm thinking about our journey together, so we've known each other for a number of years, and I don't even remember the year that we met.
Ever.
Known each other forever. And we have worked together on several different programs, including Business University and some others. But we are launching a new program that's very similar for the food entrepreneur. And so I'm looking for your continued support as far as that's concerned. But ultimately, what led you, Xavier, to accept the nomination to chair an organization like this?
It was forced upon. Nah. I think that you have to, if you wanna impact more, you have to have a chair at the table. So I can't ask anybody to do anything that I'm not willing to do. So I wanted to step up, and it's a challenge. It's a learning curve for me. This is my first chairman of any board, so it's a learning curve for me. So as well. And when she talked about critiquing and criticism, I get a lot as well. But it's I wanted to take on this challenge. As I said, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. So I wanted to take that on. But I think most of all, what made me accept it is, you want to make wherever you at better than it was before you came. So I wanted to have a seat at the table to be able to impact the community more, to try to help businesses more, put in my input, try to bring forth some people who sit behind the scenes that should be up front because they have a lot to share. So I just wanted to impact more.
Well, okay, so I will not probably ever say this again, okay?
Okay.
But I do appreciate you accepting the nomination to be my boss.
As y'all can see, who's the boss, but okay.
It's not true.
Okay.
I do appreciate that because of not only your leadership, but your friendship. You are stretching me. And I appreciate that. It is uncomfortable, but I can see some immediate results as a result of you doing some of those things. We're stronger because of you, and we're only a few months in. And so I personally am stronger because of your leadership and your friendship.
She said I don't give her credit, but actually I told her the other day it was a situation that happened, and she took some ownership, and she was like, "I'm gonna own this, and I'm gonna move on."
Yes.
And I told her, I said, "That's growth."
You
Keandra.
did.
I told her that I said the other one would have pushed back. You know, it's hard for us, and it's not just you. I said it jokingly, but it's hard for us to point at ourselves.
Yeah.
And for you to like humble yourself down and say, you know what, I'm gonna own that.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to push forward because I did do that. I had acknowledged. I said, hey, that's growth.
You did. You
That's
absolutely did. And thank you for reminding me of that. And I appreciate you being one of my accountability partners. I am fortunate, very fortunate to have people in my circle that will tell me the truth. And I know that I'm a strong personality. And sometimes it is hard to push back and say, Keandra, sit your behind down. No. And I'm grateful to have these kinds of relationships. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
It's mutual.
Before we close out, it is customary for us, especially if we have a relationship, for me to switch seats with you, and you get to ask me one question. One question.
One question.
Just one question. Somebody used to tell me all the time, ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
Yeah.
And so we're turning the tables, and you can ask me anything you want to.
Oh.
And I have to answer.
Oh, that's a hard one. She kind of put me on the spot. One question. Ooh, that's tough.
Is that tough?
Just one, yeah.
Because you asked me all,
I know,
we
I
ask each other
every day. I would say, what does it take? What is she gonna hang for this one? What does it take for Keandra to love Keandra more?
Shoot, I almost said a cuss word. What does it take for Keandra to love Keandra more? I appreciate that question. And for you to even ask it says that you feel like I need to.
And the reason I say that is, just to give you a little context of it, the reason I say that is sometimes we get so caught up on taking care of everybody else and doing for everybody else, we forget to take care of ourselves.
Thank you for the question. And that's got me over here stuttering. Okay, so I think I am learning, and it is a process. I am learning to slow down because I'm always just doing stuff, and it may not even be meaningful stuff.
Yeah.
Just stuff. I am learning to slow down and listen to me. And in doing that, do you know, I learned the other day, because I got a massage the other day, that I have pains in my body that I totally ignore.
Yeah.
Didn't even realize things in my body even hurt. But just by taking some time And just taking time and listening to me and my body, did I realize I am in a lot of pain.
Mm-hmm.
So just taking time, listening to me, feeling me, seeing me. Because I think there's a difference in getting up, preparing for the day, putting on makeup, but stopping and actually seeing me. Who am I? Like, I'll ask the question to everybody, but I'm learning to ask me, who are you? And some of the answers I like, and some of them I don't. But I think learning who I am, accepting who I am, and loving on the parts that I like, and developing the parts that I don't. I think that's what it's going to take.
I like that answer. I like that answer.
That was a hard, great answer. I mean, great question.
Good.
Oh my gosh.
Good.
I'm not going to let you ask me that no more. So anyway, thank you, my friend, for
Thank
being
you for having me.
on the show today. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate sincerely your leadership. I will never
you.
say that ever again in life.
I know it. We got to record it, but thank you.
Whatever. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in to yet another episode of Strictly Business Unscripted, where we got to know in a little better way my dear friend Xavier McGilberry. And I guess we'll see you next time right here on Strictly Business Unscripted. I'm your host, Keandra Jones. And again, thank you for watching another episode of Strictly Business Unscripted. We'll see you next time.